Should you buy the Maono PD400X microphone that we're using right now? Make sure to watch all the way to the end. Nah, I'm just messing with you. You should definitely buy it right now. Cough up the cash, cheapskate, and make sure to use the link in the description down below, or else. Nah, I'm just playing. Or am I? So if you didn't already know, this microphone is both an XLR and a USB microphone, which is super cool. So you have the option of using either. Once you open this behemoth, you can see that we have a windscreen. We got a little stand that's actually pretty heavy. Kind of looks like a dumbbell weight. And the microphone itself, which is actually metal, and it feels super premium because it's got that weight to it. Honestly, anytime something feels heavy, you usually feel like it's worth a lot more, eh? And next to it, you can see that it comes with the XLR cable, and then you got a USB cable that has a USB-C to USB-C or USB-C to USB-A, which is super nice. But enough of that, let's get to the good stuff. Whenever you're using a podcasting microphone or any kind of microphone that you just want to have that good voice in, you want to get it basically as close to your mouth as possible without actually touching it. So if you want to give it a nice lick, you can feel free to do so. So that's why instead of using the stand provided in the box, which is actually quite short, I screwed it on to my boom arm stand, which I all recommend you guys do. I'll leave a link in the description down below on a recommendation. Don't get this hunk of junk like I have, because when I was setting this up for the video, I was screwing it in, and honestly, the boom arm just freaking broke and almost broke my microphone in the process. But luckily, I was there to catch it, so don't cheap out on the boom arm stands. So this entire time, you've been hearing what I sound like through the XLR cable, and I have the XLR cable going into the Yamaha ZG01 gaming audio interface mixer. What a mouthful, I know, right? And I have a video on that in the top right corner if you want to know more about that interface. But this is how I've been sounding like just through the XLR. So let's actually take a look at the Maono Link software that comes with the microphone and use the USB function. So this is what the software looks like. You have both standard and advanced. So right now, I'm going to switch over to the USB settings in 3, 2, 1. So this is what the USB sounds like on these settings. So on the standard side, none of this really matters. You can see that there's a mute button. So if I press mute, then you're not going to be able to hear me like so. Then you got the headphone volume, which is just if you're listening to yourself through the actual microphone. So if you plug in your headphone jack into the actual microphone, you can adjust how loud you sound to yourself. Then you have the monitor mix. One thing I didn't go over is that this microphone actually has a button on it, and you can press it in to switch between different modes. The first mode is the microphone gain. The second one is for headphone volume in your ears. And then you have a mix between your computer audio and yourself. One thing that really does bother me though is that if I'm manhandling the microphone like I do in my live streams like now, then I accidentally mute the microphone half the time because it's a touchscreen button. It's not a physical button. I know they're trying to be sleek with the touchscreen, but honestly, it really pisses me off. So in this case, I'd prefer the mute button would actually be a physical button and not a touchscreen. So we have different tones right now. Deep, when I click deep, you can hear the bass is emphasized in my voice. Natural is a more natural kind of tone. Then you have bright, which cuts down some of the low ends. And then you have legacy, which is kind of everyone seems to be favorite. And if you don't like that, you can go back to natural, but I'm gonna leave it on legacy. Then you can have the distance. So this is basically where you set your gain. So if you're very near, then the gain's going to be lower. If you're mid, that means your gain's going to be a little louder because you're a little far back. Then you're far, your gain's going to be set way higher because you're way further away from the mic like so. So if you're going to be here anyways, I would suggest being near. But honestly, we're not going to use these settings. I would much prefer to use the advanced settings because then you can tweak everything to your little heart's desires. And I know this might be a little advanced for some people because honestly, I'm a very simple guy. I don't like messing with stuff I don't have to. If it sounds good, it sounds good, man. Like that's all that matters. The only difference is that you can choose your EQ, which I honestly wouldn't recommend changing anyways. Then you can manually adjust the gain here, and then you can set a limiter in case you don't want to blow your listeners' eardrums out when you start screaming. Then you can set the limiter here just so you don't peak over too high. Then you have your compressor, which if you just want to compress your voice to make your whispers louder and your screams softer, to make it a little more compressed, you can drag it all the way to the left to make it super compressed. This is what it sounds like, super compressed, so you can hear my whispers pretty loud. And then my shouting isn't as loud, so it's more compressed signal. So if you can find a happy medium over here, or if you're like, Cody, man, F this S, I'm gonna go over here. I'm just gonna use this because it sounds good. Hey man, if it sounds good, it sounds good. Don't worry about this stuff. So just a quick comparison. This is how I am on the standards with all of these settings. This is how I sound on the advanced tab. I'm gonna put a little compressor on, maybe about halfway there. Gain's about there. This is what I sound like on these settings. And then now this is what I sound like on the basic XLR settings. But those are just 3 different comparisons for you to choose from. I've been using this microphone for my streams and YouTube videos for the past couple videos and past couple streams. I personally like it. I used to use a condenser microphone, which is way more sensitive and would pick up the kids screaming at the school next door, which I absolutely hate. So this makes it a lot easier to drown those little kids out, but still making this high quality audio. But I really like this microphone. I suggest you grab it too. I'll leave a link in the description down below where you can get your hands on one. Watch this video to the side of me. It's gonna help you so much. My name's Cody, and I'll see you in the next one.